Have you ever pondered the unthinkable? What would a nuclear war mean for humanity? A question that sends shivers down the spine, and yet, it's one we must ask. The gravity of nuclear war is beyond what most of us can comprehend. It's not just about the immediate devastation, the cities wiped out in a blink, the millions of lives lost in an instant. The fallout is more than just literal. The aftermath of such a catastrophe would reverberate through our world, through our societies, and through time. Environmental damage on an unprecedented scale, economies decimated, societies shattered, and the long-term health effects would scar generations to come. It's a grim picture, isn't it? But we're not here to scare you. We're here to educate, to bring awareness, because knowledge is power, the power to change, the power to prevent. The results of a nuclear war are too horrific to contemplate. But to prevent it, we must understand it. Nuclear weaponry, a creation of the 20th century, has forever altered the course of human history. This saga of nuclear armament started in the early 1940s, during the height of World War II. The United States initiated a top-secret project, known as the Manhattan Project, with the sole aim of developing the world's first atomic bomb. The best minds of the time, including Robert Oppenheimer and Albert Einstein, contributed to this immense scientific endeavor. By 1945, their efforts bore fruit. In July of that year, the first nuclear test, codenamed Trinity, was conducted in the deserts of New Mexico. The blast, equivalent to 20,000 tons of TNT, marked the dawn of the nuclear age. Just a month later, the world witnessed the devastating power of these weapons. The United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The bombs, named Little Boy and Fat Man, resulted in the deaths of over 200,000 people, many of them civilians. The unprecedented destruction forced Japan to surrender, effectively ending World War II. However, the end of the war did not bring about the end of nuclear weapons. Quite the opposite, in fact. The following decades, known as the Cold War era, saw an alarming proliferation of these weapons. The United States and the Soviet Union, the two superpowers of the time, were in an arms race to build more and more powerful nuclear weapons. The world was divided, and the threat of nuclear war loomed large. It's important to remember that these weapons are not mere historical artifacts. They are very much a part of our present world, a grim reminder of human capability for destruction. The power to destroy entire cities, housed in a single bomb, marked a turning point in human history. The Cold War era introduced a chilling concept: mutually assured destruction. Mutually assured destruction, known by its rather apt acronym MAD, is a doctrine of military strategy and national security policy. It hinges on the idea that a full-scale use of nuclear weapons by two or more opposing sides would result in the complete annihilation of both the attacker and the defender. It's a high-stakes game of chicken, where the players are armed with weapons capable of wiping out entire civilizations. The concept of MAD played a significant role in maintaining a tense peace during the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union, the two superpowers of the time, existed in a state of strategic equilibrium. Each was deterred from launching a first strike by the knowledge that the other would respond with equal or greater force, leading to their own obliteration. This balance of terror, as it was aptly named, effectively prevented the outbreak of nuclear war. However, the peace that MAD maintained was a precarious one. It hinged on the assumption that both parties would act rationally in all circumstances, a dangerous gamble when dealing with such destructive forces. The stakes were raised drastically. Any miscalculation or miscommunication could lead to a nuclear apocalypse. Moreover, the balance of terror created by MAD has other unsettling implications. It led to an arms race, with both sides amassing vast arsenals of nuclear weapons. This escalation not only increased the potential for devastation in the event of a war, but also presented a significant financial and moral burden. In the end, the doctrine of mutually assured destruction is a paradox. It prevents nuclear war by making the consequences too terrible to contemplate, yet it does so by maintaining the constant threat of those very consequences. It's a balance, yes, but a balance atop a razor's edge. In a game where the loss means annihilation, can there truly be a winner? The world has changed since the Cold War, but nuclear weapons remain a critical issue. In the modern age, there's a new nuclear landscape painted across the world. The number of countries with nuclear capabilities has grown, and so too has the complexity of the nuclear issue. Today, it's not just about two superpowers flexing their atomic muscles, it's a global chessboard with multiple players. The United States and Russia, the two traditional nuclear superpowers, continue to hold the majority of the world's nuclear weapons. However, they are no longer the only players in the game. The United Kingdom, France, and China have long been part of this exclusive club, each with its own nuclear arsenal. In the last few decades, more countries have joined this group. India and Pakistan, two neighboring nations with a long history of conflict, both possess nuclear weapons. Israel is widely believed to have nuclear capabilities, although it maintains a policy of ambiguity, neither confirming nor denying its nuclear status. North Korea is the most recent addition to the nuclear club. Despite international sanctions and condemnation, it has carried out several nuclear tests and missile launches, raising concerns about nuclear proliferation and regional stability. Then there are the countries suspected of developing nuclear weapons. Iran has been at the center of international attention for its nuclear program. While it insists its program is for peaceful purposes, many countries, particularly in the West, remain skeptical. The threat of nuclear weapons isn't confined to states either. Non-state actors, such as terrorist groups, have expressed interest in acquiring nuclear materials. This raises the chilling prospect of nuclear terrorism, adding a new dimension to the nuclear issue. The modern nuclear landscape is complex and multifaceted. Nuclear weapons continue to cast a long shadow over global security. They are not just relics of the Cold War, but active and potent threats in our contemporary world. As we navigate through this intricate landscape, it's important to remember that each of these nuclear-armed or nuclear-aspiring countries has its own reasons, fears, and ambitions. Understanding these dynamics is key to addressing the nuclear issue. In an ever-changing world, the nuclear question remains a constant. The road to nuclear disarmament is steep and treacherous, but it is a path we must walk. The journey towards a world free of nuclear weapons is not an easy one. It's a path laden with challenges, obstacles, and setbacks. But despite the hurdles, it is a path that we, as a global community, must tread on with determination and unwavering resolve. Throughout history, we've seen numerous efforts towards nuclear disarmament, each met with varying degrees of success. From the Partial Test Ban Treaty of 1963, which prohibited all test detonations of nuclear weapons except for those conducted underground, to the more recent Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons in 2017, which aims to completely eliminate nuclear weapons, these efforts reflect the global community's collective desire for a safer, nuclear-free world. However, the path to disarmament is fraught with challenges. The geopolitical complexities of our time, the security dilemmas faced by nations, and the lingering mistrust among nuclear-armed states all pose significant hurdles. Moreover, the technological advancements in nuclear weaponry add another layer of complexity to the disarmament process. Yet despite these challenges, the pursuit of nuclear disarmament is not just an idealistic endeavor, it is a pragmatic necessity for our survival. The devastating power of nuclear weapons, as we've seen from the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, poses a threat to the very existence of humanity. The doomsday clock, a symbolic representation of our proximity to a man-made global catastrophe, is currently set at a mere 100 seconds to midnight, underscoring the urgency of this issue. The stakes are high, and the challenges are many, but the path to disarmament is one that we must walk. It is a journey that requires the collective efforts of all nations and peoples. It is a journey that calls for courage, for compromise, and for a shared commitment to a future free from the shadow of nuclear warfare. Disarmament is not just a dream, it is a necessity for our survival. As we move forward, let's tread this path with determination, with hope, and with an unwavering belief in our collective ability to shape a safer, nuclear-free world for generations to come. You might ask, what can I do to prevent nuclear war? Well, the answer is more within your control than you might think. Firstly, you can educate yourself about nuclear disarmament. With the power of knowledge, you'll understand the stakes, the complex issues, and the potential solutions. There are countless resources available online and in libraries around the world. Secondly, get involved in advocacy. This could mean joining a local or international organization, attending rallies, or even starting your own awareness campaign. Your voice can help shift public opinion and push for policies that promote disarmament. Lastly, support political leaders who prioritize peace and disarmament. Vote in elections, engage in peaceful debates, and encourage your representatives to take a stand against nuclear weapons. Remember, every voice counts. Together, we can make a difference. The future is in our hands.